Hey everyone, I wasn't planning on doing a review for Venom: The Last Dance, especially after watching Jeremy John's take on it because he did such a great job. And honestly, I felt like I didn't really have anything new to add. So if you're looking for a detailed, fun, insightful review, I recommend checking out Jeremy's video. It's really good. However, as I thought about why I didn't feel compelled to do a review, I realized that I did want to talk about why some films succeed while others die on the vine, potentially killing their entire story thread within the larger franchise. So, this is how I would like to frame my review for Venom: The Last Dance. And it'll also give me a chance to explore the current state of filmmaking. And I'll chapter the video so that you can jump to different sections however you please. But first, please do like this video and this review and be sure to subscribe for more because it's really fun having you here to talk about movies. I love it. So let's get into this film and have some fun with Venom. All right. So Venom: The Last Dance. It's essentially about Eddie trying to get to New York City so that Venom can see the Statue of Liberty or something like that. I mean, honestly, I'm sure Eddie had a solid reason to go to New York City other than escaping the feds, but I actually can't remember it without looking at my notes when I went to do this review. And when I was writing all of this stuff down for the review, and it really struck me that if I couldn't remember why they wanted to go to New York City, then the movie actually did not do its job for the audience. It just didn't stick with me. And that's a very telling detail about the film because this kind of thing just kept happening over and over in the movie. Their journey takes this sudden turn when Venom's creator, this ancient godlike being named Null, senses this mysterious power that suddenly, I guess suddenly, exists in Eddie after Venom saves him from death in the last film. And I guess it's okay to talk about spoilers from past movies. And it's this kind of power, this matrixy thing inside of him that suddenly Null can sense, and he wants that power because it will release him from his prison. So, in any case, that's basically the whole gist behind the movie. That Matrix thing shines like a beacon whenever Eddie and Venom bond and do their full-on symbiote thing. So Null releases his horde of monstrous devil dog-like creatures with these weird tentacles and fangs to track down and retrieve it. The chase is on to avoid the creatures and the government, and that's basically the film. That's basically the film. It all sounds kind of fun and kind of exciting, and I laughed a lot at different parts of the movie. So, why didn't I want to review this film? Well, there are two reasons. The first one is that Venom: The Last Dance wasn't necessarily bad, but it wasn't good either. It was utterly forgettable. And while there were a few elements that did stand out, they were mostly the problems that undermined the good parts of the film. For instance, the movie wasted the potential of a really decent cast. I kept wanting them to do more. For example, the female scientist, and again, her name escapes me without looking at my notes, which is crazy that I can't remember any of the characters' names in this movie. I just wanted her to do something interesting, something clever. But despite lots of opportunities, she doesn't get used until the end. And that is frustrating about this movie because it happens with so many different characters. The film's logic and rule breaking got really old. The biggest issue was that the bonding with a symbiote is supposed to be difficult. But suddenly, there were all these symbiotes who were bonding with people right and left with no apparent trouble. This inconsistency with the established lore meant that we should have seen some failed bonds or internal struggles. The symbiotes should have abandoned their hosts and jumped around before being slurped up like spaghetti. Instead, they were just super easy to kill. The subplot involving the alien conspiracy theory family started off fun because they had a great dynamic with Eddie, but it overstayed its welcome and grew old fast. After they parted ways with Eddie and Venom, they showed up again in Area 51, which felt contrived given the reaction to what happened with Venom. There's a screenwriting trick called Save the Cat that gives the hero an opportunity to save a cat or a dog or someone special, to establish a sympathetic moment with the audience. The family serves as one of those moments, but it felt unearned for Venom because it was only there to complicate the ending and give him someone to save. So it really fell flat. The film is full of these weird, awkward, disjointed moments. And the second reason that I didn't want to review this film ties to the first. Honestly, I just didn't care. The film had fun moments, sure, but ultimately it was forgettable. This highlights a bigger problem in Hollywood today, which is the creation of films that leave the audience feeling apathetic and meh. Apathy is the death of cinema. A while back, I did a video on why story matters. It talks about how easily audience apathy can kill a movie. When an audience member or reviewers don't care enough to talk about it or remember significant parts of a film, it fails to generate the social buzz needed for success, especially for costly theatrical releases like Venom: The Last Dance. Then again, we have recent movies that are all good examples of films that work, like Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 and probably Part 2, Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Deadpool and Wolverine, which all prove that audiences will line up to buy tickets for films that inspire them. This is why I really wanted to talk about this film and why I decided to do this review after all. I wanted to make the point that the decline in theater attendance isn't just caused by the pandemic or the rise in streaming. It's also about story, and studios have to stop playing with story structures the way they've been doing it. The films that draw crowds into theaters really do tap the proven story structures like the hero's journey, for instance, and they lean into good writing, compelling characters, and well-crafted visuals over spectacle. We crave films that are the total package, and it's obvious when movies are made for spectacle over story. Studios need to return to the story first principle, and I urge screenwriters and Hollywood executives to take a second look at past and current films that have been successful, as well as the failures, because you can learn a lot from failure and identify why these films succeeded, including looking for the commonalities in the films paired with moments in time, like social issues, economy, and the general sense of how people are feeling at that time, because all of that feeds into how we respond to films and whether or not those productions are going to resonate when they're in the theater. While some people in the industry might think that they're already doing this, something is going wrong. Too many films are being produced today that are substandard or forgettable because they rely on a formula for success that may have worked yesterday. But lots of those formulas are now driven by AI number crunching, which doesn't have the same capacity to understand or reason why humans respond and what we respond to, which means it's never going to be good at reasonably predicting exceptional films that people will love. And it is those exceptional films that create those big blockbuster moments that Hollywood executives and studios most crave. And if they don't start looking at how they are evaluating these films, the result is going to be more of the same from the big studios that rely more and more on AI automation for vetting scripts, writing and editing, and greenlighting new content. If this continues, we'll see more studios consolidate and an over reliance on AI to avoid business losses, as well as more reliance on AI driven content, which I don't believe is the path to success. We need to take a hard look at story structure and writing to get things working again. Audiences are ready and willing to pay to see great films in the theater. We want those experiences. It's not about copying past successes or following trends and jumping on the thematic bandwagons, but understanding the story structure that resonate. And the audiences are far more savvy today than ever before. Yes, absolutely. We enjoy cheap, free content that is full of spectacle, but that's not really the kind of content that we are willing to pay for when we go to a theater. When we spend real money, we need more than spectacle, which means that poor visuals, weak characters, conflicts of convenience, and tired tropes won't replace a well-written story. Lately, so many cinematic stories feel derivative, as if watching other movies alone are the key inspiration for new stories and new scripts, when screenwriters and executives should be reading more broadly. They should be reading books, short stories, comics, biographies, whatever, to remember how to construct complex characters and compelling narratives, not to mention how to find fresh, new, original stories. This is true across the genres: science fiction, comedy, romance, drama, and more. It doesn't matter. This is how you combat audience apathy and fatigue. If you tell a strong story and an insightful one. Venom Last Dance just, it doesn't resonate. I couldn't remember enough about the film to write this review without revisiting my notes. I mean, really basic pieces of information like character names, big plot items, all of that. I couldn't remember it, which is really, really sad. When a film is that forgettable to a reviewer, it signals a deeper problem. Even if it's fun in the moment, the memory of the film, it needs to last. And I hope that Hollywood learns from this movie and my not a review of the movie. The audience is still here. I promise you, we are here waiting for great movies and we will pay for them. You guys, honestly, my audience, I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. And please do give this video review a thumbs up and subscribe for more. I'd love to know your thoughts on Venom: The Last Dance. What films have you kind of left that theater feeling apathetic about? Which ones are you most excited about? Are there new streaming releases that you think would actually have been better in the theaters? Let's talk about that in the comments. Until next time, happy viewing, everyone. I'll see you later. Bye.